you're a fox and your dad gets killed by a pig monkey that is trapped in a prism. And you have a team of other animals that sound like when you play a tape backwards and you rip all the guts out of it.
Alright, you ready to start?
Always ready.
Well, that's good, because welcome back to Spin Dash, the podcast where I don't write intros for anymore, and haven't done so since 2018. With me today, my dear friend Falco, the cranky, angry man from the South. John, how you doing?
Howdy doody.
What you drinking tonight?
I have a Shipyard Summer. It's been in the fridge for like a week, and probably drank too many of them in that week, so cheers.
Well, there. That sounds tasty. Nick, unfortunately, you're going to have to be Slippy. I know that's kind of like the shit roll. I'm not seeing you as a Peppy. It's not your MO.
What are you saying? I'm French?
No, I'm just saying you're like a frog.
So I'm French.
Yeah, sure.
I figured that'd be you.
Well, yeah. No one gets to be
ribbit.
What are you drinking, Nick?
I am drinking just a standard Sam Adams Boston Lager tonight.
Ah, very nice.
What about yourself, sir?
I have, so I went fancy tonight. I did go with my Orono Brewing Company Tubular, which I will crack right now. Very tasty. One of my favorites. I've tried to find a spacey themed beer, and there was a couple, but they were all like low alcohol by volume, and that's just not what we're going to do here. In addition, this is a unique thing for this podcast. We're gonna test it out tonight. I have a bottle of Tanqueray down here and a shot glass, and
oh god,
I have this down here for a penalty round, where if I get bitching too much, with warning, I will be subject to a penalty shot. And here's my bitching. Okay? Gonna get it out of the way. The Star Fox 64 had a completely and utterly shit soundtrack. It's complete and utter crap and inferior to the Super Nintendo one. There. It's out of the way. I'm not going to bitch about it the rest of the episode. If I do, shots away.
Okay. Your warning will be do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll.
And then if you keep bitching, you have to take a shot.
That's fair. I was worried because I don't think I could tackle this game or games without ranting and raving about that. I have a lot of problems with it. So,
or I could say press A and Z twice to do a barrel roll.
Yeah. But today, we aren't actually talking about Star Fox 64. In my opinion, we're talking about the superior Star Fox for the Super Nintendo and the newly released Star Fox 2. So, John, what's your experience with these games?
So I got the original Star Fox as a kid. I think it was probably in 94 because I didn't have my Nintendo 64 yet. And it was crazy back then, man. It was something totally new. I had a few games for the Super already, and I had a regular Nintendo. But I think this was the first 3D game that I had, and it was pretty cool. We made a lot of runs through it. It was challenging as a kid. I don't know about you, but I had a tough time with it. I think I beat it once, and then I got a couple other games that were way more engrossing, so I kind of put this one aside for, I don't know, 2 decades.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. How about the second one?
No history whatsoever. I didn't even know it existed.
Good answer.
Yeah. I don't know. Did they must have hit it from American release or something like that. What have you found out?
Oh, I'll get to that in a sec.
Sure.
Let's hear Nick's experience.
None. I literally have no experience with Star Fox. I didn't know Star Fox as a character until probably playing Smash Brothers.
Oh, so you're new to the series completely, not just these Super Nintendo ones.
I have no nostalgia, no emotional attachment to this game in any way. So I literally did not play Star Fox 1 and 2 until this podcast.
Oh. Well, we got a virgin. Very exciting.
And I bled well.
Busting that hymen. Yeah, so, John, I think I had the similar experience that you did with the first one. I don't remember when I got it. I'm pretty sure I got it for Christmas. I think it came out before Christmas of 93, I think is when it came out. I have my notes later, but we'll get to that. But I think I got it Christmas that year. Played the shit out of it. It absolutely blew my mind, the fact that the Super Nintendo was doing 3D. I don't think I had any 3D games before this. I don't think Doom was out yet. So this may have been before the whole big 3D push. Like, this may have been one of like the first big 3D games. I know like a lot of computer gamers had tons of 3D games, but I was never in that space. I never had a computer that could really run it, so all my gaming was on console, and there was nothing on console like this. It was batshit insane. Star Fox 2, a little different. So I had a subscription to Nintendo Power, and they hyped the fuck out of this game. And this was back before the internet, so you never knew when a game was coming out or if it did come out or what happened to it. And I remember I had a Nintendo Power issue. They had a preview for it, and it said like coming out summer 1995. And I remember going to the mall on several occasions asking like, is this game out yet? Is this game out yet? No. And they always looked at me like I was fucking crazy. So literally once I brought my Nintendo Power to the mall with me. And I asked the dude, like, look, this is what I'm hunting for. I'm hunting for this game. The dude's like, no, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, I went on my merry way for a lot of my life, just not knowing this game existed. And then, I don't know, it must have been in like the early 2000s. I was big into emulation. Like I ignored all other systems and just played emulators. And the rough builds of this leaked. And it was cool. Like I had played one of the earlier builds of it, and it didn't seem like a complete game. And as time went on, like more and more leaks came out. And then you had almost a fully playable version of Star Fox. Like it blew my mind at the fact that they had this game and did nothing with it. So yeah, so tons of experience Star Fox 1, and then Star Fox 2 was like through emulation I played incomplete builds, but recently this is the first time I've actually gone through the final release that they just sent out. So
with the comparison of, playing the incomplete builds that you did and now playing a full complete one, how is it?
So there were a couple incomplete, and we can get to this later, but the first one I played, like, it barely was functional. I mean, it had a multiplayer mode. It was very flickery. A lot of the ships weren't the same. Like, it wasn't really a game. It was more like a demo. But the later ones, very similar. Like, people went in and cleaned up a lot of the game. Like, a lot of the repro carts you go out there that you buy as Star Fox 2 are this, like, 95% done, cleaned up by hacker version. It's not the official version, but it's pretty damn close. So, do you guys know anything about the development of these games?
Nothing at all.
John?
Yes, I had heard that they had made the chip for this game. It was a company called Argonaut. I actually looked this up when you brought up that we were going to start playing this game, because as a kid, I remember hearing or reading somewhere about a VR system that would accompany this game. Like you could play Star Fox and your view with a headset or like a helmet would be from the cockpit. So I thought that was pretty crazy. I don't remember where I heard it from. It might have been, word of mouth at school. I don't know if it ever made it into a Nintendo Power, because I did some research and there's no image of this prototype that they made, but they made one. And it was awesome. Like an Oculus system that we see today, where you had goggles or like a headset strapped on and then motion controls in your hands. But they did not release it because they were afraid of liability lawsuits, with kids putting this thing on and then getting clumsy and like falling down the stairs is what.
And then they made the Virtual Boy.
They punted an Oculus Rift system, almost 25 years prior to what we have now for the Red Death is what I like to call that thing.
You should never have gotten rid of it. So,
my cousin had one of those, by the way.
A Virtual Boy?
A Virtual Boy. Yeah. I just remember it looked so weird. Yeah. And it gave me such headaches.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
There was supposed to be, fun fact, there was supposed to be a Star Fox for the Virtual Boy. It was announced at the same time they announced Star Fox 2. It was literally just a demo of like a ship flying, and that was it.
Can you imagine trying to play this game with just red lines and all of that 3D?
I couldn't do it.
Wow. The 3D tennis, the Wario tennis hurt my eyes, or Mario tennis, or whatever it was.
So yeah, John, you got the Argonaut thing. I mean, that's a big part of this. Yeah. So my notes, I'm going down through them in order. So it was released in 1993 for the SNES, and it was co-developed by Nintendo EAD, I believe that's Miyamoto's group, and Argonaut Software. So Argonaut is a British company, which I think is really interesting because from what I was reading online, like the British had a better sense of 3D gaming than a lot of other programmers. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but the British were very... we had our Crash, and we were very console-based, and I think the Japanese are very console-based. The Crash didn't happen in Britain, so they're very computer-based. So the British had a good handle on 3D gaming, which is how Argonaut got brought in. Argonaut, I want to say they made the first 3D game for Nintendo for the Game Boy. It was a game called X, and it was only released in Japan. And the British programmer, and his name pops up a bazillion times, is Dylan Cuthbert. And interesting guy. I watched a couple interviews with him. But Nintendo, after X was done, wanted something 3D for... It was either the NES or Super Nintendo. I think it was the Super Nintendo. So Argonaut set out to make something 3D for the Super Nintendo based on some older games that were on like their Amigas. And it ran at 3 frames per second. So they went back to Nintendo and they're like, your Super Nintendo is not going to run this shit. So we need to figure something out. And they said, we need some kind of custom hardware to be able to run this, or you are not getting 3D on the Super Nintendo. So what they ended up doing is this was the birth of the FX chip, which is famous for Star Fox. Basically runs all the computations in the background needed to do all the 3D calculations in order to put 3D on the Super Nintendo. The joke was that the Super Nintendo is just like a crude box used to hold the FX chip, because it basically does more than anything the Super Nintendo could dream of. Yeah, so they initially did a prototype called NES Glider or SNES Glider, and then that was later the jumping off point where they went and they made Star Fox once they had their chip. Argonaut initially wanted this thing to be kind of like a tank game where there was like free roaming elements to it. And Miyamoto pushed for on rails. On rails meaning you're flying through a corridor, through a channel. You're not free flying, you're following a set path. Argonaut, I guess they weren't really happy with this at first, but then they found out that locked view made it easier for them to actually program it, make the frame rate run. Miyamoto apparently got the idea to make an on rails game. There's a shrine in Japan, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. It's the Fushimi Inatari Taishi. I totally fucked that up. But it's these like series of gates. It's like 1,000 of these like gate type structures. And if you walk through, you get that feeling of Star Fox, like you're going through gates. So yeah, development Star Fox 2 was released in 2017 on the Super Nintendo Classic. It was an unlockable. You had to beat like the first level in Star Fox to get it to open up. It was slated for a summer 95 release. It was also developed by Nintendo EAD Argonaut. It used a different FX chip, the Super FX Chip 2. And I think that's the same chip they used in Yoshi's Island. The same programmer, Dylan Cuthbert, he worked with a group, I think, of 2 Nintendo programmers to come up with the engine for it. And unlike Star Fox 1, they let them do free roaming. They ditched the on-rails and added a strategic element to it. And this was canceled. And they believe the decision was Miyamoto's because the upcoming PlayStation and Saturn and the 64 was on the horizon. They didn't want one of their flagship titles looking like shit compared to all the other consoles that are coming out on the market. So they canned it.
Makes sense.
Like very late. The game was done and they canned it.
I mean, why didn't they just then release it for the 64? Just re-engineer it to go to the 64. I mean, we see it nowadays where games come out for the console prior and next. I mean, a good example of that would be Twilight Princess. That came out on the GameCube as well as the Wii.
I think the issue they ran into was like the GameCube and the Wii. The Wii is basically two GameCubes glued together. A 64 is a radically different thing than a Super Nintendo. So they probably didn't talk well. But if you, and Nick, you haven't played Star Fox 64, but they stole a shit ton of stuff, which we can get into later, from Star Fox 2. Like a ton of it. Nothing went to waste. I'd phrase it that way.
I mean, that's good. I mean, at least they learn from the game and in a sense, imposed it onto one of their bigger titles for the 64.
Yeah, well, the other thing, too, is like Star Fox 2, this Dylan Cuthbert, the programmer for this, basically said it gave Miyamoto the confidence to go ahead and make Mario 64. Like, this game was his jumping off point to say, okay, I understand moving in a 3D space. Now let's have some oomph behind it with a new system and let's give it all we got. So, very influential. The last bit of history I have on this, and we can get into the story, series of ROM leaks. It leaked in the late 90s. There were various builds that leaked. So, remember I was telling you about the really glitchy kind of mess of a game that I saw that had a multiplayer mode?
Yeah.
That was an alpha build. And then there was many leaks, but the final beta, whatever, was thought to be about 90 to 95% complete when the hackers went in and cleaned it up, translated it, and then leaked it. So yeah, story. Do you guys know anything about the story of either two of the games?
You're a fox, and your dad gets killed by a pig monkey that is trapped in a prism. And you have a team of other animals that sound like when you play a tape backwards and you rip all the guts out of it.
Can you do some impressions for us? Like, can you give us... You knew this was coming.
Yeah. So you remember that thing from Home Alone 2 that he had, like, that he could record people and, like, alter their voices and
Talk Boy.
Make his voice deeper?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a Talk Boy. I had
Talk
one.
Boy. There you go. Yeah. So Falco sounds like if you just stepped on the Talk Boy a lot and then you tried to play it, because he's like... You know? What is that?
Do.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fox and the hare sound a little bit alike, but I mean, yeah, Falco is just like you slowed things down 5 times and dropped it like 6 octaves.
Pepe's kind of like you speed it up because he's like, wait.
Yeah.
That was...
So, honestly, when I heard the voices, I'm like, it sounded like Charlie Brown, but just different, like you said, either speeding up higher pitch or slowing it down lower pitch for the voices. It just was like very Charlie Brown-ish on the voices. Except for like one where you said, oh no, like you said some actual sentences here and there. It was like, you got him or something of that nature.
Oh, the commander's voice. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, he was the only one that actually had actual said words.
Yeah. And then like the warning at the beginning when you're flying out of the tunnel, danger or something, I think. But who decided that the bird would sound like Barry White? I mean, birds are high pitched, right? Like, I think the frog would be the deep voice guy.
It's the magic of Nintendo.
Yeah, they're crazy.
So what I have here, the story is like a couple bullets. Like, it is very simple. Basically, you've got the Lilat system, which is the series of planets that makes up where you are. You're in the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Andros is the pig monkey thing you were talking about earlier. Apparently, he was like a crazy, brilliant scientist that was doing really risky experiments in like the heart of Corneria, like one of its really populated cities. So they banished him. They're like, the shit you're doing is crazy. You need to go. So he sets up shop on Venom and is pissed about things and basically says, I'm going to war with you, Corneria. So General Pepper, the dog, hires a group of mercenaries, which are our 4 friends, and basically says, we got this experimental ship. You need to go hunt this guy down. The only other person we forgot to mention was Slippy Toad. So we mentioned Fox McCloud. He's the leader. And then there's Falco Lombardi. He's like the bird. And he's Fox's like short-tempered asshole friend, ungrateful piece of shit. You got Peppy.
You don't have one of those.
You got Peppy. He's like, in the other games, he's supposed to be like the veteran on the team. Yeah. I never got that vibe from this. He just seemed like some other dude. So maybe they haven't wrote a story yet. And you have Slippy, which I don't know what Slippy's deal is other than my notes just say he's a fuck up. And he is a fuck up in every game. Like, Slippy is constantly in trouble.
He gets in the most trouble, man. He sits right in your like line of fire on so many levels.
He's like, watch where you're aiming. Well, stop crossing my path of fire.
Yeah.
Nintendo is like inconsistent with like all these characters as like the series goes on, but they're consistent with Slippy. Slippy's a fuck up. Like that's just classic Slippy.
Well, I think in the later one, Slippy's like a kid, right? Like he's the lovable rascal.
Yeah. So apparently the characters, right? It's all based on like Japanese lore. Like Fox, the shrine that I was telling you about earlier is the shrine dedicated to a fox. So that's how they got the idea, like, we're going to make the main character a fox. And then, like, Falco and Peppy, like the falcon and the hare, those are common in Japanese myths. Slippy, apparently, there was a guy in the office that liked to use, like, frogs as his like, calling card, his like, his symbol or something. So, like, we'll make that one after him. And then apparently there's like an old Japanese story about dogs fighting monkeys. So that's where you get the whole Pepper versus Andros thing. And they just slapped it on. Like, the animals were like an afterthought. They had the whole game done. And they're like, all right, well, we need a story. We'll just slap this in. And Star Fox 2 has even less of a story.
Yeah.
It's basically like Andros survives all the shit you did to him in Star Fox 1. So he's going to lead a counterattack. And that game really doesn't add a whole lot other than you get 2 new characters. You get Mayu the Lynx, which I don't think there's any backstory to her. And then Faye the dog. All I have is she's the daughter of an aristocratic family. I don't know where the hell I got that. Probably from the manual or something. Yeah. But Star Fox 2 is unique in that it adds the Star Wolf team. So you have Wolf O'Donnell, Leon Pawlowski, Pigma Dengar, who's a pig, and Algie is a monkey. I don't know what the fucking Algie is. So that's basically the story. You fight Andros, Andros fights you. Not a whole lot to it.
Wait, is the Wolf team, or are they part of Andros' team?
They're his henchmen.
They're like his right. Like, so, like, you're a group of mercenaries, so he hires his group of mercenaries.
And as everyone probably now listening to, did he actually play the second one? I played like literally probably 30 minutes into the second one.
Well, that's all it takes, dude.
Yeah, let's get into gameplay. So, John, how far did you get before we get like going into like the guts of the games? Like in both games, how far did you get in both of them?
All right, I'm holding up a middle finger to Nick because I beat both of these games. So there you go.
Good man.
John finally completed a game.
Well, the first one I did all 3 routes. I forgot. Can you pick difficulty setting on the first one?
Well, the routes are your difficulty setting.
So I beat all of them. And so I have the Switch, and I got the SNES Classic on the Switch. and it made this game so easy because you could rewind. So
you cheated.
Yep.
Yeah, seriously.
In an effort to be a
You freaking
completionist
cheesed it hard.
on this one, I did some rewinding. It was fun. I liked it. It made it a lot more tolerable because this game is infuriating at the later stages when you clip a wing after you have built up to the blasters, to the third stage blasters, and then I swear that it knows, and it like one shot, it'll have a high percentage to clip your wing at a boss fight. Like, because I would rewind and then I would, dodge and I would get hit in like right in the same time frame, and it would clip a wing like the majority of the time.
So we're going to come back to this, but in my notes, when I talk about like Fortuna, the planet, or Fortuna, my notes say, this is the place where wings go to die.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Oh my god, clipping a wing is devastating in this game. So you beat all three with heavy rewind.
Oh yeah,
and then
Route 1 was a piece of cake. I mean, we've done that multiple times. I think we played a few times in college over the years, and I beat it as a kid. So Route 1 was easy. Route 2 was difficult, and Route 3 was daunting.
How far did you get in 2?
In Star Fox 2, I beat the whole thing on easy, and then I got about halfway through medium before one of those stupid dog fights just wore me down, and then I was done for a while. I like the aspect of you have to maintain the health of the planet, but the dog fights were a bitch. I don't know if it was a design thing, but I felt like there was only one chance you had to shoot them if you were squared up and you were driving at each other or flying at each other head on, and then you had to dodge out of the way and do a barrel roll. Right?
Do a barrel roll.
That's it.
Oh, do I have to drink?
No.
Oh, wait.
No,
No,
you're
never
good.
mind.
No tangent
Nick,
pitching yet.
So, Nick, before we get into like the nuts of this thing,
nuts and bolts, as it were.
How far did you get in 1?
So I beat the 1
like
through the easy route. I was able to do that fairly.
Oh, so you beat it. You didn't.
I beat 1.
Oh, all right.
I beat 1, but I didn't beat 2.
Well, I can't bitch about that. I mean, you didn't YouTube it like John did for Battle of Olympus, so you're doing all right.
Yeah, no, I beat 1. It just took me a while because 1. So initially, I played it through emulation, and I think it's just the controls, and not by the inverted axis. I actually liked inverted axis.
Good man.
I played a lot of those style of games where you had an invert. So it didn't take me long to get used to it. So I don't know if it was a control failure on the emulation, if it was just not up to snuff. And I actually just replayed it today before before we actually started recording. I played it with the Switch Lite.
Oh, nice.
And I prefer this playing that way, mainly because I actually was using the Joy-Cons.
Gotcha. Yep.
So that's mine. Well, I mean, there's some great aspects with this game. Sorry. One of those is, I do like the flight simulation kind of aspect of, inverted axis. Something I think it'd be cool if this game, I don't know if this was able to use or utilize that big Joy-Con that you could get with the original SNES, the big pad you had with a joystick on it. You never saw one of those?
Oh, not a Joy-Con. You mean like the stick? You mean like the big, like the not this. Like the SNES Advantage.
It was arcade. It was like an arcade stick.
You could use that.
That would have been probably really good on this game and probably make it a lot easier.
Oh yeah, dude! I never even knew about that thing. Huh?
It's good for Street Fighter.
Yeah.
A lot of guys use it for Street Fighter.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I know it is better for fighting, but I think that kind of give you a little bit. I mean, I think I didn't really care for the game. Not to say I didn't like it, I didn't care for it just because I don't think I had a nostalgia feel for it at all. so it really didn't carry through. So I was really rushing through just to complete the game.
Oh, see, that's not good, Nick. You gotta take these games in. You gotta enjoy them.
I couldn't. Like, it was just so frustrating.
Sector Z a bunch of times when you run into the 15th friggin' beam.
And that's what the thing was. I was constantly clipping stuff because I was not too much. I was nowhere could get aware of my actual surroundings. Like, I like the cockpit view, the cockpit view.
I feel like you hit less.
Put quotations
in
on
the
it.
Cockpit view too.
Oh no, I hit more with a cockpit view, but that's what I prefer when I was doing dogfights. I preferred using that view.
Yeah. So, John, going back to something that you said earlier, because you were talking about clipping wings and blasters and stuff. Like, I don't think we've actually talked about like what the weapons are in this game. So we've already established this is like a on rails. The first game is an on rails shooter. Mm-hmm. So you're traveling down a corridor. You're in a spaceship shooting things. But weapons, power ups, all that like gaming shit. Like, go for that. Give me what you know.
Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. You start out with one gun, and the next you can grab, which kind of looks like a 3D printed little outline of wings or blaster, something. Promotes you to 2 of the same little laser, and then the final stage is like these, I don't know, photons. I don't know what to call them.
I think it's a plasma. I always called it a pump gun.
Yeah,
but I think it's a plasma gun.
Okay,
a plasma shot.
That sounds about right. And those are badass. Like, you can kill a boss pretty quick with those. Not to mention the bombs, the smart bombs, right?
Yeah, so you get 5 of those.
Yeah, those are fun. I love the graphics on those and the sound it made when you shot one. Yeah. Yep, and then it just turns the whole screen like a muted red color. Yeah, that was fun. And that's also fun in like other games after this. I remember in Smash Brothers, grabbing that thing was always inciting some chaos. Yeah. And there are certain colored rings you can go through to heal yourself. And, if you're lucky, you find a wing repair kit, but that's few and far between.
Yeah, so the only other power up I have in my notes is there's the power shield. I don't know if you guys ran into that, but it basically like turns you into like wireframe view and you're invincible.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
But it goes away like...
I think I got that once or twice.
Yeah, but it goes away like instantly because I get hit by a million things. Yeah. So yeah, John, the rings, there's the blue supply ring, which is kind of like the halfway point. Like if you die after going through the blue ring, it'll bring you back to that. Yep. And then there's like those like yellow energy rings where like you shoot an enemy or they'll just be there. You fly through them, you get a little bit of health.
Gives you a little bit, yeah.
And then the only other thing I have under weapons is like, you talked about fucking your wings up, which I did a lot. If you shoot the thing that upgrades your blasters and you have a broken wing, rather than get a blaster upgrade, you fix your wing. So like, if you fuck up your wings, not only do you lose all your progress on like upgrading your weapons, but you've got to start over, and any bonuses that like any benefit you would get to those like adding more onto your shots, like it's wasted. You have to like repair your wing.
Yeah.
That's like the worst way to explain it as possible, but like don't like breaking your wings is devastating in this game.
Might as well start over.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick, you got anything to add on that, or do you want to jump into the roots?
Let's jump into the roots of this game. I mean, I just...
So you did Route 1, though. So you did Corneria.
It was like Corneria, then was a...
The asteroid.
Corneria, then you go straight into a... ship, right? Carrier?
No, you get the asteroid belt.
Asteroid belt, then carrier, then Venom?
Nope.
Then you got you got Corneria, which is like the blue planet that you're on. And then
that's the first one.
And there's the asteroid belt, which you go into a cockpit view. Then you fly.
Shoot all the gold.
Then you fly through the Space Armada, which is kind of a cool level. Like you're dodging in and out of ships.
That's one. Sorry, I did play each. I played a little bit of each route.
Yep.
And that's probably why I'm getting confused, because I do remember going into one of the ships, or there we had to destroy one of the ships, and I could have been even actually playing when I was just playing Star Fox 2 as well. But yeah, I just took a short route. Seemed to be it was fairly easy. Especially, I kept on dying like the first time through, just I wasn't really getting hold of the controls. And then it just clicked for me. And once that clicked, I was going in and out, able to take down enemies fairly quickly in the game.
Yeah. John, how did Route 1 go for you?
Not bad. I got the 3 power-ups, I think, by the asteroid belt, and then cruised right through. Dodging some of those meteors sucks, but, towards the 4th stage, I think the 4th stage is the meteor. And I remember that was tricky in spots, but not bad. I definitely had the toughest time with Route 3.
3 was a bitch. Yep.
Question, going back, when the asteroid belt, what's up with the gold asteroids or the gold meteors? What did you get anything for shooting those besides points or anything? Or
so, what's the actual point of those? Do you mean like the asteroids with like the spinny ones? Like there was like a reddish goldish one in the middle, and then there's like spinny gray ones on the side.
Yeah.
So like you can shoot down asteroids, but when you have those like the spinny ones, if you shoot them at the right time, you actually can open up a black hole. And it will let you, if you go through the black hole, it's like this weird, like trippy as fuck level, and you can pick where you warp. Like it'll spit you out on any one of the 3 courses, and I can't remember the order. But if you're doing Route 1 and you somehow open up that black hole and you're looking for an easy trip, like you could fuck up and end up on Route 3 and have a real rough time.
Yeah, weren't there like sea creatures floating through space on that one?
That's Route 2.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a sec. So, so Route 1, like, this is kind of out of place, but Corneria, best music in the game. Like, the music in Star Fox 1 is fucking amazing. And I'm probably going to have to do some gin in a sec, so we'll let it happen. The guy who did the music for it is this guy, Hajime Hirasawa. Star Fox was his last game, and he got in a fight with Nintendo, I guess, because he wanted to go and perform or do like a CD. He thought he owned the rights to it. And Nintendo's like, no, fuck you. You're an employee. This is ours. So he got pissed and quit. Apparently he's rich as hell because he has some patent on cell phones. Some like cell phone music. I don't really know. But this guy gets no credit. Like you always hear about Koji Kondo, which he's the guy that did the music for Star Fox 64, which sucks. Ooh. It's fucking terrible compared to this.
He did Mario, right? He did Super Mario.
Yeah, he did Mario, but like I don't know why like they didn't follow the direction that this guy took Star Fox with the music, because like the music fucking makes this game. Like when you're going through Corneria, like that is an awesome song. Like go listen to Corneria. Like you're just rocking out. Like everything on this game, like the music is driving.
Yeah.
You just like, you know what? I'm going to pour myself a shot.
I was about to say do a barrel roll, man.
Yeah. Like
do a barrel roll.
Like everyone loves Star Fox 64, but there's like no like urgency. It's not like an urgent game. Like this game's urgent. You need to, like you got shit to do and the music is telling you need to get going.
Yeah. I also like that you can't really understand what your team is saying. It must have tasted good.
That was gin, straight gin.
Oof. Because, like, I can imagine being in a cockpit and trying to understand what somebody's saying to you. It sounds a little muted and muddled like that. But then in Star Fox 64, they all sound like too cartoony to me.
And it's like, oh, your father was one of us. And it's like, fuck you. This isn't a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
This game has attitude. I don't really know how to describe it. Like as you're going through the levels, like Corneria, the music is just awesome. You get in the asteroid belt. It's like Star Wars soundy. I kind of got that vibe. You know, you have the Space Armada. You're like diving in and out of shit. I don't know. The sound was amazing. But anyway, that's my side rant. Route 2, John. You did that, Nick. You didn't get to Route 2, right?
No Route 2 for me.
Sector Y. Yeah, Sector Y was rough.
Yeah, go on about that.
So that had the sea creatures floating in space. And I did not like those manta rays. I did not know the trick until I died a couple times that you had to keep them one color. Right? Like,
yeah.
That was the trick. That's tough. And apparently Andros had put mind control on all of like the space creatures. Right? That was General Pepper's little snippet, I think.
Oh, see, you read the story. I don't do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that's what happened, man. He was mind controlling all these little space critters to attack you and protect his secret base. Because he always has a secret base. This guy has so many bases, like, they're just going to get destroyed, you know?
Yeah. I mean...
Well, he's making sure those space contractors have a job. He's keeping the space economy going.
Andros.
To the Death Star.
Making jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Route 2 is my favorite of all the levels you can play, because like Corneria is Corneria. Sector X, okay, I like it better than the Asteroid Belt, but like Titania is that weird like weather control stage where you're flying in the fog and you have to find the weather control thing to shoot.
Yep.
And then you fight the boss under the bridge. Like there's like this weird flying section and he's like chucking fish at you.
Yeah, that was easy. That boss was not that hard.
Yeah. And then you got to your level where you had like the manta things that like the bad guys shoot them and then make them angry and they smash into you.
Yeah, that was funky.
And then like Venom is really cool because like all the other ones, like you do like a front assault on Venom. So you're like getting shot at as you go in. Like Route 2, you take the back route into Venom. So like you're on this like weird road and then these like biker guys that are flying out of this ship at you.
Yep.
Like it's cool. Like Route 2 is really cool.
Yeah, I don't remember much about Sector X. Felt similar to the Asteroid
really.
Belt.
So Route 3. Route 3's a bitch.
Yep.
And
bitch about it. Come on, bitch about it.
I don't want any more, Jen. Route 3, like, shit's up in Route 3. Like, Corneria is red in Route 3. So things are going to go bad. And what's really cool in Route 3 is, like, the boss, like the attack carrier, is getting hauled off by like these like giant robot things. Like, no, you're not going to fight the everyday boss on Corneria. We have something a little more interesting planned for you. You got this like weird tank thing that's like shooting things at you. And then things just go south from there. John, what did you run into on Route 3 that was a pain in the ass?
Sector Z, dude. That level was a bear with all those things coming together. Like the unseen forces were trying to cobble their space base together, and they were just wrecking me with all those beams.
So how did you do on Fortuna? Because that is always something I struggle with every time I do Route 3. Like that is what fucks me up.
I got through that better than I got through Sector Z. I guess I'm not
really.
Yeah, I'm not that great of a pilot for maneuverability. But Fortuna was not. It's not as memorable to me, so...
Really?
Yeah.
Fortuna is the stuff of nightmares for me, because I get there, and it's kind of like it's a dinosaur planet. It's very like Earth-like, and you fly through sections where like some parts in grass, some parts in dirt, a lot of it's in water, and there's like these giant plants that grow up in your way as you're trying to fly through things.
Oh, yeah.
I'm constantly breaking wings in Fortuna, but I don't have enough levels to get built back up by the time I get to Macbeth.
Yep.
Which I can get through Sector Z with a broken wing or a rebuilt wing, but just a single shot. But my problem with Route 3 is like by the time I get to Venom, like I need to be full strength to beat like the Venom, like the Venom level on Route 3, or I'm not getting anywhere. Like it's interesting. Like Venom. So the Great Commander, Do you remember this boss, John?
The double-headed dragon? Or was that...
No,
that was on Fortuna,
no,
right?
that's Fortuna. Okay. That's the Monarch Dodra.
Yeah.
Venom is this is the bombing run where you have to like keep like taking spins and taking turns and like doing attack runs on this like ship in space.
I don't... Okay, was that ship that you've encountered a couple times before and was super fast, right, when you're trying to hit it?
I think this is the one where you keep like taking attack runs and you have to like bomb all 6 of these like little flat vents that pop up on it. And if you don't do it, like you keep doing a circle and coming back.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and it launched the kamikaze pilots at you.
Yeah. So, and then you get through all these courses and you always end up on Venom through this like crazy level where there's like beams falling everywhere and these like swinging doors, which my teammates always shot the fucking doors and then like it would kill me because I would want them to go one way. But then you get Andros. Like, what are your thoughts on Andros in this?
Not bad, honestly.
Yeah.
He was not terrible. The Route 3 guy was a little harder. You just had to be careful. You had to take it a little slow.
I don't know if this is like a product of being a kid and playing this game versus being like an adult looking at this, but like Andros always creeped me out. I don't know why. I find it incredibly creepy, this like soulless face you have to fight. Like he taunts you and you end up in this like weird void.
Yeah.
And then like there's like this weird soulless face you have to shoot in the eyes that laughs at you. It's unnerving. And then
it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, what's the point?
Well, he's the bad guy.
Right. But then he has a cube inside the face. You break the face open and then it's Andros on like a 6-sided die, right?
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't
just rolling around and then you shoot that a bunch and then the face comes back and you duke it out with that. But yeah, it wasn't bad. So I had more problems with a couple of the bosses on the levels before that.
I think what always got me like freaked me out, like when you do Route 3, you know how you like fight the face, the weird face, and then it like transforms mid-fight into like this weird demon-looking thing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. That always freaked me out. I don't know if I'm like a weirdo
it was like
or something.
The devil, with the horns.
Yeah, like you're fight. Like, this is this kid's game. Like, so let's backtrack, right? This is like this kid's game, and it's got like this like crazy metal soundtrack to it. And then you look at the box, and it's got puppets on the front. Like, all like they didn't like cartoon it. There's just puppets. And then you fight Satan, or like a weird, like, I don't know. It's fucking creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the soulless face is like, oh, okay. I felt like it was an arcade. I was in an old arcade and something like that. But the devil on Route 3 was kind of a weird twist.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
I think because you have that nostalgia, that feeling from when you're a kid, that you're like, oh, this is creepy. And I can see that being creepy, especially as a kid. That could definitely be a creepy instance. And I was just like, what is this? I think what it is I had nothing to compare it to but what games I've played now. So I couldn't really make a judgment other than if I was playing this against games now, it was meh.
Well, that
just meh.
That hurts. That I have to disagree with, Nick.
I guess if you jump back in, the graphics aren't up to par with other things, but I think the mechanics are a big factor here. I mean, the graphics are weird, but it plays well compared to other games, other shooters, other space shooters, you know?
I'd like to see like an HD remake where they run this game, and they can't, like, the people have overclocked it, but it just speeds up the game, which is useless.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see like someone go in and make this exact game run at 60 frames per second. Like same polygons. Like, I don't know what it is I like about these like flat shaded polygons. Like, something attractive about that. I don't know.
You're going to be on
like
My
to see
Strange
that
Addiction next episode.
Give me my polygons. So anything else on Star Fox 1 before we get into 2, which I think we're going to have a lot of discussion on?
Yeah, I didn't do the black hole. I didn't get the secret route.
No.
Yeah. It was
Did
fun.
Did you ever do another dimension?
No, that's the thing with the roulette, right? Or the slot machine.
Yeah, that's creepy too. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get that. Like, you shoot this like laughing asteroid back in the asteroid belt. No, that's a different level. This is the one where you shoot like the planet, the planets on the side, and it like spawns this like bird-looking thing.
Yeah.
And then you fly into the bird, and you end up in this like weird another dimension with like flying paper airplanes at you, and then you fight a roulette wheel.
Yeah.
Like a slot machine.
Right.
And then that's it. You just keep shooting the end, and that's like Corneria must get blown up. Like, there's no way. Like, you're in another dimension. Like, Andros is fucking up Corneria.
It's, instilling gambling and corrupting the youth.
Tipper Gore! Oh, shit. All right, Star Fox 2. Someone else take the wheel.
I didn't like it.
I actually did like some aspects of this,
You would.
and I think because it gives you the ability to kind of time management and like you had to do other things. It wasn't just a straightforward get to point A to point B to point C. It was like, okay, you had to go back and save the planet from a carry again there, or you had to go back and save it from this. So what I did was able to play of it. I actually really did like it. Something that was kind of cool also with this game is you got to pick your pilots. You didn't have to be Star Fox.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. It's like, oh, and each character had their own abilities, their own something that was unique to them, and you got to pick your co-pilot. Something that was kind of cool is if you died as your regular pilot, you can continue the game as your co-pilot or your wingman.
Yeah, I liked those aspects of it, but overall, I just it felt redundant. The levels weren't that difficult. Like, you would fly into a cruiser and you turn into your little walker thing and you'd shoot the core, or like the little the sentries that were patrolling inside, and then you'd fly away. And the same thing with planets. Like, instead of a ship, it was just a base, but it was the same layout. Like, you just jumped in and you turn into the walker thing, which was a cool aspect, but I think they dropped the ball overall on this game, just making things too redundant, and they didn't really have any depth.
See, Nick, I think you got to the heart of the game, like what you said before. Like, this is a game about time management, which is my biggest complaint about this game. Is like, when I play a game, I want unlimited time. I want to be able to fuck up 15 times. I want to explore, and this game is not allowing you to do that. Like everything. So Star Fox 2, right? Very different than Star Fox 1. Star Fox 1, on rails, arcade kind of shooter, right?
Yeah, very, very stark departure from the first.
Star Fox 2 is almost a strategy game. Like, it's got shooting elements, but like, you've got to plan, like, I need to defend Corneria. If Corneria takes too much damage when Andros comes back, I'm fucked. So I need to figure out, like, okay, maybe I'll rescue this planet so it stops shooting rockets at me. But when I'm doing that, like, there could be a battleship that's going to go and like launch a laser at Corneria. So every decision you make is like you're chipping away at time when you play at this game, which I had a hard time with. Like, that was a hard concept for me.
I think also when you get to pick your pilot and co-pilot, wingman, it's very strategic how you pick them. because each have their own benefits and way to handle a situation.
Yeah.
So I did. That's something I kind of liked about it. Because like, oh, you don't have to be the lead character. You can be the rabbit and you can be the hawk if you wanted to.
Who'd you pick?
I did the rabbit and falcon. I think I did falcon and rabbit.
Yeah, John.
I did Fox and Falco. They seem
that's who I did.
Yeah, they seem the most like attack ready. I think it was Fox and Falco had the most attack and shield benefit because if the frog and the hare were slower and they had less weapon. I forgot the whole gist of it, but the two new ones were fast. That was all their thing was.
It's weird, so like Fox and Falco are kind of like the all-rounders. Like they've got like average speed, average shields, and they have smart bombs. So they're like just the same as they are in like Star Fox 1. But then you got like Peppy and Slippy, like they're slow, but they've got a ton of shields, and like they've got like a health special thing, which is kind of new. Like it's something.
They're tanks.
Yeah, they're tanks.
Yeah, they're what you call a tank usually.
And then like the two girls, like they're fast. They got like low shields, but they are fast, and they've got this like shield weapon where you activate that shield, like nothing's gonna get you. Same weapons in this game, right? Blaster, twin blaster, then like the plasma or type B, I think is what they call it in this.
It was tough to get those.
Yeah, yep. I had trouble with that,
and it was mainly because I didn't recognize what the power ups looked like anymore, and it wasn't on rails, so you might have missed it if you weren't going in that direction. Like if you were in a dogfight with the fighters that were launching from a cruiser and one dropped one, you might miss it. You know?
Yeah. I had a hard time because I was so worried about like this game made me nervous. Like, this game felt like work to me. I don't know what it was, but like the first game I was okay with it, but this game, like the entire time I was on edge. Like they are bombing my fucking planet. I don't have time to get a power up because every second I spend collecting shit is a second that this thing's getting nuked. So I never picked up the power ups, and I had such a hard time with this game.
Yeah. I didn't like the mechanics of how you shot either. It felt different to me.
So this is one of the problems I had with this thing was like I got used to the hacker released version. So you know how you have the charge shot in this?
Yep.
In like the hacker version one, the one that was like leaked, you start with a homing charge shot like you do in Star Fox 64. So like when you're in the dogfights and stuff, like that charge shot's gonna seek out those guys. You don't have to worry about like lining everything up impossibly like you do in the final release.
Yeah, it was tough to line shots up in this, man.
In this game, like you have to collect all those pepper coins in order to like unlock the homing shot. That's what you get for all those pepper coins. And I couldn't hit anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so items, we kind of touched on that. You get blaster upgrades. You can pick up bombs. You can pick up health relief. You can pick up shields and repair things. I don't know. There was just something about this game I had a hard time with, and I couldn't put my finger on it. It just didn't resonate the same way. I don't know if you guys felt the same thing. And then maybe the nostalgia. Nick, you're going to have to be the check to John and I on this because...
I mean, I preferred it. I honestly did. Like, I think I like the fact that it was little short burst missions that you can go through and just kind of go through it. It could change up. It wasn't like the same thing through and through.
Yep.
So it was kind of, I won't say open world, but had the open world aspect in the sense of you had to do different things at a time. Like, I mean, I went against the Mirage Dragon pretty quickly.
Yep.
One time, but then it took a little bit next time because you had to, I think, to go against him, you had to beat do two like levels or something, and then Andros is like, oh, I'm gonna send out my dragon, roar, It reminds me of the freaking dragon from what was that? Have you guys ever watched the old Power Rangers? It reminded me of that dragon from Power Rangers, or not. It was Lord Zed's dragon, or whatever. Zord. Yeah. That's what it reminded me of initially because of the silver and whatnot. So, I'm like, oh. No. But, I mean, I liked it. I didn't care for the on rails. That's just me.
I like the controls better in 1. 2 was just trying to aim that thing sucked.
It was a little more floaty in 2, I feel. I will agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it just didn't have the depth. It had the variety. It had cool features, but, I mean, okay, every planet felt the same to me. The cruisers were the same. Venom, it was a little different, but, yeah.
So what I thought was kind of interesting, like, going back to Miyamoto, I think this speaks a lot to Miyamoto. As much as I don't want to make it like I'm not joining the Miyamoto cult of personality. Like I don't have, Miyamoto statues lined up in my backyard. I'm not like chasing him wherever he goes, dumping my top off at him, like he's some kind of fangirl. But like Star Fox 1, he wanted a simple game that played well. And then like 2, I feel like they kitchen sinked a lot of stuff. Like they threw so many aspects. Like there's some amazing shit in this. Like it is a strategy game. It is a completely like free roaming thing. There's a time element to this, and your ship can change. Like there's so much shit that's thrown in this one game that I never think it like spends enough time on any one of those to be good at any one of them.
Yeah.
Like it's a great game, and it's a super influential game, even though it never was released. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's the time thing that throws me off, but it's just like, okay, I'm going to transform into the walker, which is a cool addition in this game. Like, it's very neat that your ship turns into a walker, but that sucks time out. Like, I'm constantly wasting time. I can't fly through these levels because I'm going to crash into 50 things, and it doesn't control like the other one. So I'm almost forced to walk and waste time. I don't know. I don't know if you got that vibe from this where it's just like I'm so frustrated because I am wasting time.
Yeah, time's a big virtue here.
Only thing else, I kind of have a little gripe on it. I feel like I wish you could strafe a little bit.
Yeah.
Strafing, it wasn't really like a true strafe like you... I don't know. Especially in Walker, you couldn't really strafe there. I mean, you had to, wherever you had your damn cats. I guess wherever you had your pointer was, or your aim was where you're supposedly were gonna actually shoot. But it was just a pain in the ass. That's the only way to kind of do it. I felt like if you could use, kind of like you do now, if you could actually use like your trigger buttons or your bumper buttons as a form of strafing, that'd been good, with your D-pad being your actual walking ability, going back and forth or walking sideways. I don't know.
Yeah, because this is L and R to turn, and then like your movement is the D-pad.
I thought the bosses were easy. When you hit the reactors, all you had to do was move left to right and just hold the trigger down.
That actually is my biggest complaint about this. I found every one of the bosses completely unremarkable in this game versus the first one.
Yep. The dogfights were the hardest part for me because you sacrifice so much life trying to hit these guys. I got hit every time I would do like a flyby or, try to attack them.
I would sit there and I'd hammer on the L and R button. I'm like, I'm going to spin maneuver and hope to God when I'm shooting them, whatever they're shooting at me is going to reflect off.
And they did the same damn thing. I remember like, oh shoot, I didn't hit him that time because he was spinning. Like, and
it was funny because like you could see the little icon, not icon, but you could see the little like spark indicator that they were at a planet. And it's like, I've got a ship that's going to nuke things. My satellite defender thing, which shoots down like rogue missiles, has been taken over by like these brainiac things, so I have to go like defend that, and then fucking Starwolf shows up. Yeah, it's like, oh my god,
cluster.
This is work. This isn't a game. Like this is me trying to like get to a meeting on time, and I haven't photocopied all the papers I need.
Yeah.
Like, this is work. I mean, the challenge I ran into Star Fox 2, I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but like, it's a very well-made game. Like, it should have been released, but at the same time, it's not for me. And I think I need to take a step back from it and say, you know, not everything is designed for me, even though I'm very self-centered. This game is just not designed for me.
Yeah, the depth factor really tanked it for me. Oh, you have what, 5 planets? I think.
Yeah, so you got
planets?
you got Titania, which is from the original game. You got Meteor. Fortuna is the water planet where you fight the squid thing, which is kind of interesting. You go into water. Macbeth. You have Venom, which is like green again for some reason. You know, it's an evergreen planet again. And you've got a new planet, Eladard, which looks like some kind of like construction planet.
Yep.
But they're all unremarkable. Like in Star Fox 1, I could tell you, and it again, Nick, check us, because this is nostalgia again. I could tell you every planet. Like I felt something when I was in all those levels, like they were unique. And in this one, I'm like, I'm just trying to shoot things to open up a base in order to get inside to kill things.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel that way with 1. I felt like it was like, especially because I had to play it through a couple times, like, this is on repeat. Okay. Yep. Here's this. Oh, this is going to fall now. This is going to fall now. So it felt very systematic, very easy to figure out the pattern. And I felt with at least 2, you didn't have much of a pattern, in a sense, because you had different things that kind of taken up, and you could attack different things that's depending on what you found was a greater need to attack. So that's just my thoughts.
And it may just be you're a more strategic thinker than we are. You know, so like this may just appeal to you. You may just be better. I mean, and we'll get into that our next upcoming game. Like you picked a strategy game. So like maybe that's what it is. Maybe Star Fox 2 just wasn't made for me. You know, and John, I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, it's just not the depth. I like a game to have depth and a little bit more variety. This had variety, but just not the kind I'm looking for, you know?
Yeah. And what's funny is, like, I've had this game hyped in my mind for so long.
Yeah.
You know? You know,
Could that be it then?
You know, maybe that's what it is. Like, I was chasing down that poor dude that worked at the mall saying, where the fuck's this game? You know, and it's
You're
just...
chasing that dragon, as it were.
Chasing that dragon, you know, and I've played it now to completion. And, like, I liked a lot, and it's very influential in Star Fox 64. They brought over Wolf,
Yep.
the Star Wolf team. They brought over all range mode, which is basically this whole game. You know, the fight with Andros, if you go the hardest, if you play expert, like you fight his monkey face, it's the exact same thing you do in Star Fox 64. So, super influential. It's just, I don't know, there's something that just did not kick with me.
So, you saying that, was it really influential? Or maybe they took and they just lifted a lot of aspects that you really liked about 2 and made it for 64. So maybe 64 is truly the 2, and 2 is kind of the lost worlds of Mario.
And I think that's the case. I think you're pinning me on this because I love to bitch enough so that I would bring Jin to take shots of Jin to this podcast.
You might have to do another one.
Yeah, I love to bitch about 64, but like it essentially married 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You know, on rails, but it gave us the stuff in 2 that was really, like the charge shot, very unique.
Levels had depth, too.
Yeah. It just had shitty music. Any closing thoughts on this one? You know, I don't want this to be a bitch fest. I had such high hopes going into 2. I really did, and I think that was the problem. Is I fucking hyped this game so much in my mind.
I'm glad the 2 are done. Honestly.
Are you really?
Yeah, I couldn't get into it. I really tried. Like I played for even though they're short games, I play for 10 minutes. I'm like, I'm already done with this. I'm not into this at all. No, not into this. Not into this.
I knew we were in trouble early on when you were saying you were in Corneria on the first one, and you're like, I don't get this game. I don't see why you and John like this game. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, it wasn't for me. Neither one. I mean, like I said, I did a lot of aspects of 2 better than 1, but like you said, I think it's due because I grew up playing a lot more strategic games. RPGs were usually what I was stuck in. So I was playing Chrono Trigger. I was playing, Zelda. I was playing Final Fantasy games. So those are the games I like because you had to kind of think out the process as well as think how you're going to build the character, think how you're going to build the team, think how you wanted to go against, certain enemies or go through each level. And I think that's what I liked about 2 over 1 because it was as much as on rails where it's point A to B. Those are kind of good, but I didn't get into it for a flight game. I feel like it was, I don't know, there's something, it could have been I was spoiled with playing other games that just had better graphics, and maybe the graphics and the controls were just really screwing with me. But yeah, it just didn't hark to those emotions. It didn't pull those emotional strings like I think it did for you or John, as it did me.
John, what are your thoughts?
Did we lose John?
He's real fucking deep in thoughts. Oh, he's back. He's back. Oh, man. So technical difficulties. John, what are your thoughts on these 2 games? And I'll find some way to edit this in.
All right. So I obviously love 1. One of my favorites growing up. I think, playing through Route 1 and just being totally in awe of the graphics. It held up playing back through everything this time. I don't think I ever beat Route 3 as a kid because it was a pain in the ass, and I didn't have my convenient rewind feature. So that helped a lot. Yeah, 2 was different. It was unique. Some of the aspects were cool, but I think that they could have done better with it. But obviously they took that and ran with it for Star Fox 64. So we got the game. I love that game. I know you don't, Matt, but I love that one. It was cool, minus the music. I'll agree with you there. But yeah, Star Fox 2, it was all right. Star Fox 1, great.
Yeah. I guess to add my closing thoughts, 1, I think if we found some magic way to just, in 2020, fix the frame rate, make the frame rate 60 frames or even 30 frames, whatever, we would have a different conversation about Star Fox Super Nintendo. Because everything it does extremely well for such really shitty primitive technology. If you think about it, they had the custom chip, but I mean, it was a Super Nintendo running 3D, and what games like this came before, Space Harrier? I struggle with that game. I'm not good at that game. There's something about Star Fox or Super Nintendo. I know where my ship is at all times. Every one of the routes has something different. I'm challenged every time I play the Super Nintendo game. And the music, again, for the upteenth thousandth time, is fucking awesome. Awesome soundtrack. Props to that dude.
I think you're going to take another shot.
I haven't bitched. That wasn't a bitch. That was a compliment. It's very different. 2, 2 gave us so much, but at the same time, I think it was so many things thrown in. It was an incredible accomplishment. Don't get me wrong, but when we go back to Miyamoto's whole premise of make a game and make it fun, it was cool, but I never found it to be fun. There's a fun in the first one, a challenge in the first one. And the second one, it was just stress. It was all right, I might as well be at my job punching a clock, trying to meet meetings. This is fucking stressful. I don't know. So just not what I wanted. I don't know. And that's so 1 gets my seal of approval, 2 does not. John, sounds like 1 gets your seal of approval, 2 does not. Nick?
Yep.
Nick,
reverse it.
Yeah. So
Wow.
This is where, in the case of, for me, the sequel did better than the first one.
Nick, so I have a game plan for us, but I didn't do pickups because I'm a fucking idiot. Why don't you guys tell us what you picked up?
I pick up something really cool. You guys want to know?
A flashlight.
Okay, you're going to have to edit that shit
There's
out.
a duct tape on the side with black Sharpie. It says John.
Oh,
Ew,
boy.
it's dirty. Nick, what'd you get?
Creep down.
I have been selling some stuff so I can purchase a Switch Lite.
Nice.
So today
Good work.
I found someone that was selling a Switch Lite. Initially, I thought they were selling the Switch Lite for $220 with 3 games. I was like, oh, sweet deal. Come to find out, and because I was so quick, because they don't come up in the area too often because everything's gone. Like, I think you have to literally, to get a Switch Lite even, and any of the locals, is you're still waiting just for a Switch Lite, or you're getting a color you don't want. So I found a person selling Switch Lite, brand new. She had it like for like less than 3 weeks, and realized she was getting a puppy. She's like, I had no time for this. I'm like, okay. And so I offered her. She wanted $220, and then she wanted $40 per game. I'm like, the only game I really liked was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So I'm like, how about this? $240 for the Switch and the game. So I got a gray Switch Lite with Mario Kart, both came with boxes and everything.
Nice. And you don't really know this yet, but when you get playing around with like the online, like there's some good retro shit that's going to benefit you when you get that up and running.
So I made a purchase today. I invested into because I had some coins, so it only cost me $15, I think, for the Nintendo subscription.
Yep.
Because I was like, I'd rather have that. That way I can have access to anything that play, especially if they open up more Nintendo games and SNES games, which I assume they would.
They better.
Yeah, because it's a very limited stock right now.
Got some Star Fox.
Yeah, actually, I replayed both games on the Switch Lite, and I liked it a lot better, actually.
Yeah. John,
did you use the rewind function, Nicholas?
I don't use that at all.
Good man. You're an honorable man.
You don't cheat bullshit.
Don't cheat, John. Don't cheat.
Yeah, okay.
John, have you picked up anything?
I don't think so. It's been a month.
John, you want to pick up something?
A couple weeks.
Last recorded.
Yes. I guess what games you can pick up.
Yeah, maybe. I'm all that over.
Come on.
I got the Super Nintendo and the regular Nintendo libraries on the Switch.
That doesn't
been
count,
good.
John. You didn't spend money. You didn't spend hard-earned money on that. Well, I guess you did.
No, I
don't
didn't.
own it.
Yeah, earlier than both of you.
Yeah,
come on.
pick up. It's been a light month. I picked up Sin and Punishment for Wii, and that's another on-rails shooter.
Yeah.
This game, the Star Fox games, really got me into on-rails. I need to like seek out all these on-rail games that I haven't been playing. And that's it. Dry month for us, guys. Other than Nick's fucking flush.
Quiet. Yeah. Nick had to sell off some of his stuff, though, so we lost some of the retro game collection.
I'm talking Nick out of
So actually, I didn't really sell too much off of my collection, let's be honest. So the stuff I sold has all been doubles so far.
I'm going to beg you to keep that PS2 because I really want...
I got the only thing I sold in my extra Wii. And then a yard sale this past weekend, I picked up 2... It was like in a wire bin, like 2 Wii controllers with Wii nunchucks, and I got also the AV cord for my PS2 that I did not have prior, all for $5.
So
sold the 2 Wii and nunchucks for $35.
So why aren't we playing Vice City? Add it to the list. All right. No, that was... yeah. You guys want to try something new?
Hey, always.
So I was going to do a turbo button for this 2 games, but I couldn't think of stuff. So then I got on the thinking of, I never got to play Star Fox 2. That game will never, in official cartridge form, ever enter my slot. So then I went on this thinking. I'm like, okay, well, what other things will never enter my slot? And that sounds so dirty, I'm going to keep saying it. So I've invented a game for you guys, and here's the shtick. I'm going to read you some descriptions of games that may or may not exist. And by may or may not, in North America, of course. So they may have been released in Japan and therefore are not going to go into your slot in the United States. Or they may have never been released at all. You need to tell me if it's true or false. This game is it what I'm telling you is real, or what I'm telling you is a bunch of bullshit. But either way, these games will not enter your slots.
Let's fill those slots then.
All right, are you guys ready for this? And you can ask me. You can ask me questions, and I'll try to answer them, either making up bullshit facts or trying to tell you what I know about them. All right, let's do it. Ready?
Good, man.
Okay. First one, Live Alive is a role-playing game developed and published by Square and released in September of 1994. It was never released outside Japan, but has been unofficially translated into English by Aeon Genesis. The story involves a series of seemingly unrelated chapters that can be played in any order, based on popular genres such as Western, science fiction, mecha. Each chapter has its own plot, setting, characters.
True.
Nick says true. John?
False.
Any questions?
No, it sounds something very Japanese. And at the time, it probably would have filled a lot of the boxes needed. Something that would not carry through well into North America at the time.
Nick is very much correct on this one. So I have to jot that down that Nick's got one. All right, next one. Ready? Super Moses, Pharaoh's Revenge is a Christian-themed video game developed by the biblical video game producer Wisdom Tree, slated for a 1995 release. It follows Moses' efforts to help the Hebrews escape from the Pharaoh. Like Super 3D Noah's Ark, Super Moses plays similar to Wolfenstein 3D, but has no violence in it. A fully playable prototype was released in 2019.
Super Moses?
I don't know if they'd call it that, so I'm going to say it's false.
Yeah, I don't see that game. I'm going to go with John on this one, false.
So you guys are both right. And here's a fun fact. There was a game called Super 3D Noah's Ark for Super Nintendo by this company.
I think I remember hearing about that.
It kind of sounded like something that could be plausible.
All right. Nightmare Busters is a leprechaun-themed run-and-gun action game developed by French company Arcade Zone for the Super Nintendo. Originally planned for a 1995 release, the game was canceled due to financial issues, but development resumed in the 2010s. The game finally saw an official release in 2013.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I'll say true. Sounds legit.
So, Nick, you're up on John, by the way. Okay. Miho's High School Adventure is an anime-based action-adventure developed and published by Kemco and released in July of 93. Never released outside Japan, but has been unofficially translated into English by DJAP Translations. The story involves Miho's quest to collect 7 magical charms from her classmates to break a curse put on her by her teacher.
False.
True.
Nick for the win. That's very creative on my part.
Yeah.
Well, you used the Spanish name. Mijos.
I was going Miho. I thought of like Sin City. That's the best I could come up with. All right. Here's where we start getting fun. Steven Seagal is the final option. Is a side-scrolling beat-em-up video game developed by Tech Magic that was supposed to be released in '94. This game received a lot of hype due to Steven Seagal's license, but was not based on any of his movies. A prototype containing the demo emerged and found its way in the hands of a private collector sometime after 2008.
False.
I think there was, because they're doing a lot of fighting games at the time. They're trying to cling too, because a lot of game characters are based off like Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee.
This isn't Shaq Fu, Matt. Come on.
I'm going to go yes then. That, just for the pure answer why you said it isn't Shaq Fu. Why not? It's Steven Seagal. He was huge during the 90s.
Nick is 100% correct, and this game looks like fucking dog shit. It had digitized sprites like Mortal Kombat, and as a side screen, he has like unlimited knives he can throw. It looks fucking trash. This actually was a real thing that was canned.
Man.
Apparently,
he had a lot of things that did not get off the launch pad.
No, there were a lot on the Super Nintendo that did not get off. All right, 2 more. Rayman is a side-scrolling platformer video game developed and published by Ubisoft. First game follows Rayman and his series of adventures to defeat the evil Mr. Dark. Rayman's development began on the Atari ST, shifted to the SNES, and then from the SNES CD, which was canned, then onto the Jaguar, and then ported to other consoles. Very early demo was released in 2017.
Well, I know there's Rayman. I'm going to say yes, but only because I know there is a Rayman character out there in the world.
Do we have to be accurate on the history? Like, is that, you said, the SNES CD?
Does this exist, John? That's the question.
Yes.
You guys are both correct. This game, there was a demo of this. It wasn't very far in development, but they did initially plan on putting Rayman on the Super Nintendo. When the CD was canceled, they jumped ship. Last game. Frasier, The Reign of Dr. Crane, is a 2D action platformer based on the sitcom Frasier.
I don't care if I'm wrong, it's a yes.
The game was developed by Imagineering with Absolute Entertainment slated to publish. Development was canceled after Home Improvement Power Tool Pursuit failed to sell. A near-playable demo was released in 2012.
It's totally false, but I like your...
I'm going yes. No matter what, I just want yes.
This is not real. I was hoping it was, because there's a lot of fucking shitty Super Nintendo games that...
Well, there was actually a Tool Time one, wasn't there?
There was a Tool Time.
Because I think I remember playing it.
So, totaling them up, Nick, you have beaten John by 1. You are the winner this time. So, make John take an extra drink.
Take a drink, John. Drink it.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. So that about does it. You guys got any closing comments?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I'm excited for the new other game we have to play.
Yeah, so Nick, tell our folks what we're going to be listening to and playing next.
Let me get my list because I actually forgot. I know it's.
Yeah, I think mine's next. We're playing Star Tropics next.
John, you're cutting the line.
Yeah. No, Nick did Castlevania.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, mine.
Fuck, then why am I talking to you about your game, Nick?
My game's after his.
Come on now.
Oh, well then, fuck you, Nick. You don't matter. John, tell us about your game.
So, on our next episode, please tune in as we play and review Star Tropics on the regular Nintendo. Excuse me.
Yes, that's...
Yeah, don't know much about it yet. Always wanted to play it, so we will tell you more next time.
I'm excited, John. I'm excited. More excited than I was for this last game we played.
Yeah.
It's because you're a Nintendo hater,
fucking second kid.
Ooh. Ouch. I think we can end it there.
Yeah. Shut this shit down. Guys, thanks for listening.
Adios.